What are the pros and the cons of living in Arizona? In this episode of Living in Luxury, I'm going to give you my pros and cons of living in Arizona. My name is Marcia Canady. I'm an Arizona native and have been a real estate broker for 12 years and have helped so many great people move to the Phoenix metro area. And I'm not only a native Arizonan, but I'm a native Phoenician, which means I was born in Phoenix, which is really rare. Most people that live here were not born here. Which brings me to my first pro and con about living in the Phoenix metro area. People move here from all over. Why? Because of the over 300 days of sunshine. Plus, it's stunning, and despite inflation and the crazy real estate market, the cost of living and property taxes are still lower than many other states. A few facts. From 2016 to 2020, over 64,000 Californians moved to Arizona, and over 17,000 moved from Washington State, plus over 15,000 from Texas. As you can see, people are coming from all over, but these states have the highest in-migration to Arizona. And these are the top 10 metros moving to Arizona from June to August 2022. We always have a lot of people moving here, but during the pandemic, we had over 200 people a day moving to Arizona. Pro is the diversity of people who live here, which I love. That's why the Chicago Cubs spring training sells out and why we have a lot of pizza places. What's not to love about that? When you're driving around, especially from September to May when the snowbirds come, you can see license plates from all over. I was just in LA and almost every license plate was from California. Here you see license plates from California, Washington, New York, New Jersey, Wisconsin, almost every state. I love it. But there's a few cons with that. Con number one is that everyone brings their own special driving pattern. I've been to defensive driving school a few times, and they always tell us that there's more accidents in the Phoenix metro area than any other city because of these special driving patterns. Con number two, because of the increased traffic and because of the terrible heat during the summer, our roads wear down and need repair. So registering your car in Arizona is expensive, as you can see here. But if you live here less than 7 months of the year, you do not have to register your car. Another con on our roads wearing down is that there's lots of rocks that hit your windshield and break the windshield. So you have to make sure your insurance, which most insurance companies do, covers the windshield in Arizona. There's a group in Arizona that's experimenting with a light colored paint that's applied over the dark road to reduce heat. Hopefully we can get to a situation where our city is not becoming hotter and hotter and hotter because of the roads. A special note, we have a lot of traffic cameras that will catch you for speeding or running a red light, which I hope you don't do. Tickets are expensive. Generally, if you go 9 or 10 miles over the speed limit, you'll be fine. But if you go 1 more mile over, at 11 miles over the speed limit, the camera will flash and you cannot fight that ticket. I set my cruise control for 9 miles over the speed limit, and that usually keeps me safe. Okay, number two, the weather. Of course, it's a pro and con. Everyone talks about the weather. The pro, 8 months of the year, it is amazing. Right now, it's the end of October and it's just stunning. I haven't had to use my air conditioning for a couple weeks now and have had the windows completely open all day and all night. I go for a walk every morning and it's a bit chilly. Then the day is warm and then it's chilly at night. It's my favorite time of year. October and November are spectacular. They are so gorgeous. The days are in the 80s and the nights are in the low 60s and high 50s. It gets a little cold in December, and when I say cold, I mean in the high 60s, low 70s during the day and high 50s at night. On Christmas, it seems I'm always wearing shorts and a light sweater. I only own a jacket, gloves, and boots for skiing. I went to Jackson Hole on New Year's Eve a few years ago and it was 20 below. I've never been so cold in my life. So the weather here is great in December. January can be the same, but sometimes we get a couple really cold days where it rains and even snows. But the snow usually melts right away. We did have snow that stayed on the ground for about 3 hours in January 2021. Everyone freaked out. I went into a meeting and came out with my car covered with snow. It was so beautiful. The air was really crisp and clean and the mountains were really dark. It reminded me of Colorado. February and March get into the 70s and then April and May into the 90s. In my book, anything under 100 degrees is fine. So that's my pro about the weather. The con, from mid-June to about the end of September, it is unbearable. You go from your air-conditioned house to your air-conditioned car to the air-conditioned office or an air-conditioned restaurant or shopping center. You can really feel how people get crabby by July 4th. I usually go to San Diego over the July 4th weekend. This year, I stayed here and spent the entire day in the pool with friends. It was great and so much fun, but I was so sunburned. I also think we have that seasonal affective disorder during the summer months because I'm so crabby, I don't have any energy, I can't sleep. It's terrible. I can't tell you how much better I sleep and feel 8 months of the year. Most people try to leave during the summer. I stayed the summer and left about 3 times for a week each time. I went to Sholo, I went to California, I went to Cape Cod, but I'm planning on leaving all next summer. It's so weird that I used to run around barefoot when I was little. The heat didn't bother me at all, but now it really bothers me. In 1990, I worked outside during the summer. I was part of a xeriscaping project for the city of Phoenix. Xeriscaping is when your landscaping requires very little water. Anyway, it was so hot on June 26th specifically that you could fry an egg on the sidewalk. We of course tried it and it worked. I think it got up to 120 degrees that summer. It was so hot, the planes couldn't land at Sky Harbor Airport because their tires would explode. So plan on going somewhere else during the summer. Prescott's an hour and a half north, and about half an hour farther is Flagstaff. Sholo is lovely. It's about 3.5 hours northeast. And there's always San Diego, which is only a 6-hour drive or a 1-hour flight. Most of the year, the heat is a dry heat. I'm sure you've heard that. But our monsoon season begins in June and continues through September, which means we have higher humidity, which leads to thunderstorms, which are great. Heavy rain, lightning, hail, high winds, flash flooding, dust storms, and really extreme heat. August is the worst. When you walk outside, it feels like you are walking into a hot, wet sauna. You can't even catch your breath. And the pool's like bath water, and you can't take a cold shower. During that time, we have some wicked rain, thunder, and lightning storms, and we also have habuds. The term habud is from the Arabic language and means blown. A strong Arizona habud can last for a few hours and travel over 100 miles. They are giant walls of dust created from high winds rushing out of the collapsing thunderstorm. The cold air in front of the storm rushes down at an incredible rate, picking up massive amounts of dust and sand and blowing them in the air. They're really cool, but if you're outside or driving, they're dangerous. And boy, do they spread the dust. Speaking of dust, we got dust. I mean, we live in a desert, right? So I don't have carpet, but I still vacuum every day. It amazes me how much dust gets into the house. The number 3 pro is the beauty of Arizona. This is a huge pro. Growing up here, I never really appreciated the beauty of Arizona. I went to University of San Diego, and then I lived and worked in Europe, South America, and Asia. I've been to so many gorgeous places, but I always come back to Phoenix. I like Arizona as a base, and now I really appreciate how stunning it is. Everyone thinks it's all desert, but there are desert plants and cacti that have gorgeous blossoms. And there's areas of Arizona that are so green and plush, like the Central Corridor, the Biltmore Corridor, Arcadia, and South Scottsdale. Most of Paradise Valley is more deserty, if that's a word, but there are areas that are very plush. The thing I like most is that no matter which direction you drive, you see mountains. Camelback Mountain, of course, is my favorite. It's like our beach. If you buy a home that has a view of Camelback, you are in heaven. When you play golf at the Biltmore, you tee off with views of Camelback, Piestewa Peak, and South Mountain. All right, the next thing I love are the cacti and wildflowers. There's 83 types of cacti that grow wild in Arizona, and during the spring, cactus flowers make the desert so colorful. There are many types of cactus flowers, with each having its own unique color and shape. Although spring is when the flowers are crazy beautiful, we see color all year long. Okay, palm trees. I love palm trees. They're everywhere, and it feels like you're in Beverly Hills. Plus, at Christmas, we have palm trees wrapped in lights. Speaking of palm trees, let's talk date palms. Most people don't expect to find a date ranch in the middle of Phoenix, but in the Mont Grove neighborhood near 44th Street in Camelback, you'll find nearly 300 date palms. It's where the black Sphinx date grows exclusively. The history of the Sphinx date goes back to the 1920s when it was originally discovered. The person who found it said it was a new kind of date and wanted to grow more. So a grove was planted in Arcadia. It was a farming neighborhood that became residential in the 1960s, and those same trees are still producing these dates in the yards of this Arcadia neighborhood today. Residents harvest the dates every mid-September and sell them to places like the Sphinx Date Company in the heart of Old Town Scottsdale. If you want to have a really good date shake, go to the Sphinx Date Company. I've left the information in the description below. They also have local honey, salsa, nuts, wine, and beer. And yes, Arizona has local wine and beer. The next pro is citrus. Citrus is one of the 5 C's of Arizona. In some parts of Phoenix, like Arcadia, it feels like living in some kind of a Garden of Eden, with the abundance of lemons, grapefruit, oranges, pomegranates, and limes. In fact, Arcadia used to be orange groves. There's so much citrus, people will leave fruit at the driveway for anyone to take. I love to have a fresh grapefruit in the morning and make some great cocktails with citrus. And the orange blossom smell is delicious. It's such a yummy feeling to smell the orange blossoms in the spring. One of my favorite things about Arizona. When I was little, we had 2 dachshunds, Daisy and Holly. They would walk around the yard with their noses in the air, sniffing the orange blossom. It was so cute. All right, birds. No matter what time of day those birds are singing. Because the weather has turned cooler now, I open up all the windows and just listen to the birds all day long. In my old neighborhood in Arcadia, my neighbor told me that someone brought 2 lovebirds to the neighborhood a long time ago, and now we have tons. They chatter and sing all day long. My favorite bird is the hummingbird. Many people put out bird feeders with this sweet red water that attracts hummingbirds. We were up in Shola and watched a very territorial male hummingbird sit in a tree and watch to see if another hummingbird came to the feeder, and then he would swoop down and rush them off. Okay, next, sunsets. Arizona is known for its sunset. From late June through early August during our monsoon season, clouds build up during the day, sometimes bringing the most powerful storms in the late afternoon that finish by sunset. So you can catch sunsets with enormous cotton candy clouds that glow gold around the edges during the summer. All right, lakes. There are many lakes right in the middle of the desert. Lake Pleasant, Roosevelt, Canyon Lake, and a beach, which is Lake Havasu. It's one of the best places for hitting the beach and having a good time. Dotted along 400 miles of shoreline are stretches of soft sand, ideal for setting up lawn chairs under a sunshade. Lake Havasu is about 3.5 hours from Phoenix. People will rent houseboats or bring their houseboat and have week-long parties there. So fun. If you just want a day trip, Lake Pleasant is only 45 minutes from downtown Phoenix. It's a 10,000-acre lake that shimmers in the desert sun like a massive oasis. It's set up for hundreds of visitors with easy access and a full range of services, including marinas and campgrounds. It's a busy spot with power boats and jet skis racing all over in all different directions. Farther out from the shoreline, the lake's quieter, and it's out there that you'll find sailboats gliding along, powered by warm summer winds. Canyon Lake is my favorite because it is so clear. The water's like glass. Water skiing is great there, and it's only 45 minutes from Phoenix also. There's so many lakes: Bartlett, Lake Powell, Roosevelt, Saguaro. I'll put a link down in the description so you can find your perfect lake. Okay, my number 4 pro is property taxes. In the Phoenix metro area, our property taxes sit at a low 0.62% compared to the national average of 1.07%. And to compare, California's property taxes are 0.76%, Florida 0.89%, New York 1.73%, Connecticut 2.14%, and New Jersey 2.49%. Okay, my 5th pro of relocating to Arizona is the lifestyle. With so many days of sunshine, you can get outside and do so much. The valley has some of the most amazing hiking trails and golf courses. You don't have to travel far to enjoy some time in nature. I put links in the description to everything I'm going to talk about now. Golf. We have over 300 golf courses in Arizona, with over 200 in Greater Phoenix. My favorite is the Arizona Biltmore Golf Club. There are 2 courses, the Links and the Adobe, and it's so plush and green and surrounded by the views of Piestewa Peak to the north, Camelback Mountain to the east, and South Mountain to the south. It's stunning. The 19th hole, the Adobe restaurant, is great, and you can bring your dog. Phoenix is said to have the best urban hiking in the nation. For the most part, Phoenix is a very flat city with no rolling hills, but it's completely surrounded by mountains. Camelback and Piestewa Peak, formerly Squat Peak, are right at your doorstep in central Phoenix. Camelback has 2 trails. The Echo Canyon Trail on the north side is very hard. It's like rock climbing. I don't like that trail. The Cholla Trail that you enter on the east side of the mountain is hard, but lovely. The trail's been closed due to construction and trailhead realignment. The new trailhead will now have drinking fountains, restrooms, and bike racks. If you want to go farther out, there's Pinnacle Peak, Tom Thumb up in Cave Creek, Lost Dog Wash in North Scottsdale in the McDowell Mountains. So much hiking, so much fun. 8 months of the year, hike. If you're craving a season, It's just a short drive to see the leaves turning in the fall. Again, you can drive north to Prescott or Flagstaff, an hour and a half to 2 hour drive, or go in the winter when there's a huge snow dumps. If you want to keep going, you can drive a couple more hours to the Vermilion Cliffs National Monument, which has some of the most unusual geological formations in the country, including the Wave. Then there's Sedona, with the famous Red Rock Buttes about 2 hours away. You can see a meteor crater near Holbrook about 3 hours away, and drive another hour to see the Painted Desert in the northern section of the Petrified Forest in the Navajo Nation. If you want to go to the beach, Rocky Point is only 4 hours, and of course San Diego is 6 hours, or 5 hours if you drive with me. Disneyland is 6 hours, Grand Canyon is 4.5 hours, Las Vegas is less than 5 hours. By the way, we went to Las Vegas in November once to play unlimited golf. Yes, unlimited golf with 3 days of 36 holes a day at Lake Las Vegas. It was so cold, it was practically snowing. I thought the weather was exactly like Phoenix, but it's not, it's colder. So make sure you check the weather before going to Vegas. But if you want cold, go there in November. The beauty of Arizona, I have to say, is absolutely gorgeous. For walking, running, and biking, the Arizona Canal is great. I walk on it almost every night just before sunset. It's such a magical time of day. The mountains have a pink color to them that's stunning. You can start on Central Avenue on the Murphy Bridle Path, walking north to Orchid Lane, which is just north of Northern Avenue, and take the Arizona Canal through the Biltmore, through Phoenix Paradise Valley area, through Arcadia, and into Scottsdale. The Arizona Falls is a 20-foot drop along the Arizona Canal between 56th and 58th Street on Indian School Road at Herberger Park in Arcadia. It's kind of cool, and you can stop and play a game of pickleball if you want. Shopping. Many visitors come to Phoenix and Scottsdale to shop. We have the Biltmore Fashion Park that includes Saks Fifth Avenue, Ralph Lauren, Pottery Barn, and Lululemon. Plus some of my favorite restaurants, True Fruit Kitchen, Pizza Pomodoro, and Blanco Tacos and Tequila. Scottsdale Fashion Square is in the heart of South Scottsdale at Scottsdale Road and Camelback. It's in the top 30 of the largest malls in the US, and it's very successful. There's more than 240 specialty stores and restaurants, including Neiman Marcus, Nordstrom, Dillard's, Macy's, and you can eat at Nobu, Ocean 44, Francine, Toca and Zinc. Restaurants. We have so many amazing restaurants in Phoenix and Scottsdale. And what I love the most, many of them have outdoor dining, and you can bring your dog. Obviously, I love dogs. If we meet in person, I'll give you a list of my favorites. I took my Northern California buyers to Blanco Tacos and Tequila at the Biltmore Fashion Square and introduced them to the Cheese Crisp. It's now their absolute favorite restaurant. The Cheese Crisp is an open-faced flour tortilla covered in shredded cheese, and then it's put on a metal pizza pan that has been brushed with butter and put under a broiler until it gets crisp. We grew up on it. I think it was created in Arizona, but if you ever want to try one, let me know. They're so good, and I will take you and have one with you. Next is Desert Botanical Gardens. When I have friends visit, I always take them to the Desert Botanical Gardens. They recently had the Chihuly in the desert, as seen here. It was great because it's lovely to walk around, have dinner, learn about the unique, beautiful plants that thrive in some of the hottest and driest parts of the world, including cactus, agaves, succulents, trees, and shrubs. During the spring and fall, when the weather's cool, they let you bring your dog on Sunday mornings, and they have many special events throughout the year, like Dia de Muertos, which is now, music in the garden during the fall, chilies and chocolate in November, and Las Noches de la Luminarias. International flights. I like that Phoenix Sky Harbor is an international airport. I've flown direct to London on British Airways many times. It's about a 2-hour flight to Cabo San Lucas in Mexico, which is lovely. Flying to the East Coast is a bit hard, but it's doable. All right, museums. We have so many museums. Downtown Phoenix has the Heard Museum, Phoenix Art Museum, Arizona Science Center, the Children's Museum of Phoenix, and Scottsdale has the Musical Instrument Museum, which is very cool. It also has the Scottsdale Museum of Art and Western Spirit. We also have Taliesin West, which was Frank Lloyd Wright's winter home. It was established in 1937 and is known to be his desert laboratory in Arizona. There's so many events and festivals all year long, with fewer in the summer. We have First Friday art walks in downtown Phoenix, which is a really thriving art scene. From small stages and galleries to boutiques and murals, there's no shortage of creative expression. Thursday Scottsdale art walks start at the waterfront that's spread into the art galleries in Old Town Scottsdale. They have events all the time. In January, we have the Fiesta Bowl, Rock and Roll Marathon, Barrett Jackson Car Auction, and the Waste Management Phoenix Open, which is a wild party. We have Cactus League spring training from February to March. The San Francisco Giants play at the Old Town Scottsdale Stadium, and the Colorado Rockies and Arizona Diamondbacks are at the Salt River Fields at Talking Stick in Scottsdale. And then, within a 30-minute drive of Scottsdale, 12 other teams, including the Chicago Cubs, the San Diego Padres, and the Texas Rangers, they slug it out at stadiums across the valley. We have NASCAR in March and November. Chandler has an ostrich festival in March. There's a Country Thunder Music Festival in April. In the summer, Desert Botanical Gardens has flashlight tours at night because it's so hot during the day. The Arizona Diamondbacks and the Phoenix Rising Football Club have games and matches from April to October. Fondly known as the X Factor, fans of the three-time WNBA champions, the Phoenix Mercury, offer non-stop action on the home court all summer long. We have spring and fall restaurant week. During the 10 days, you can take advantage of a 3-course meal or prix-fixe meals for $33 to $45 per person. In the fall, of course, from September to February, we get to watch our beloved Arizona Cardinals. And there's so many great tailgaters. From October to April, the Phoenix Suns and the Arizona Coyotes, which used to be the Phoenix Coyotes, play. In October, we have the Arizona Taco Festival, the Phoenix Pride Festival, the Greek Festival, and Schnepp Farms has a pumpkin and chili party. We have the Spooktacular Hot Air Balloon Festival, Dia de los Muertos Festival. We have lots of Halloween events. In November, there's the Bentley Scottsdale Polo Championships at Talking Stick Resort and Casino. Yes, we have casinos. We have 25 casinos, and they're all operated as Native American gaming facilities. In November, we have the Charles Schwab Cup, which is the last stop championship PGA Champions Tour. This is the senior tour. I worked for IMG in Hong Kong, and I ran professional sporting events like golf. Tom Watson was in the Hong Kong Open. He asked me to take him out on the town after the tournament. We were out all night. In fact, he almost missed his plane flight the next morning, and I would have been in so much trouble. I would have been fired. He's really fun, and it was a great night. In December, there's the Tempe Festival of Arts, and don't forget the true cowboy experience. You can take boot, scootin' dance classes in front of a live band at the Handlebar J Saloon in Scottsdale, or drive about 30 minutes north to Cave Creek and ride the Mechanical Bull, or dance all night at the Buffalo Chip Saloon, where you can also go to church the next day. There are plenty of horseback riding companies, and we even have a cowboy college. The next thing I love about our lifestyle here is staycations. My favorite hotel is the Royal Palms Resort and Spa. It's right in Arcadia at the base of Camelback Mountain on Camelback Road. It was a 1920s winter home and original Spanish colonial revival villa. The pool's really fun. The Hermosa Inn was a private turn-of-the-century escape for the painter Lon McGargy, who was known as the Dean of Cowboy Artists. It's located in Paradise Valley and has been turned into an intimate and luxurious inn. Lon's restaurant serves very interesting food. I think I once had snake, or maybe it was ostrich. You sit outside under the mesquite trees, and there's lots of roasting, smoking, and wood-grilled food, and great wine. Sanctuary, you can eat at Elements or sit at the Jade Bar. The view of the praying monk on Camelback Mountain is delicious, and the drinks are pretty good too. Camelback Inn is an old-time favorite. You can go to Rita's Cantina and Bar and sit outside. They always have someone playing the guitar. It's really nice. And then the Biltmore, it's been completely remodeled and has a great pool and this huge slide. I had some buyers come in and they stayed there, and their kids went on the slide all day long. It was really cute. Okay, here's a big con. Snakes, scorpions, and jumping cactus. Oh my. Like I said, Arizona has 52 species of snakes and 13 species of rattlesnakes, but mostly in the desert. So watch out when you're hiking. In all my years of living here, I've seen one snake in the desert. There are about 36 scorpion species in the state of Arizona. All of the species can sting, and they cause some immediate pain with little or no local swelling or redness. Only one type of scorpion, however, can deliver a life-threatening sting, the bark scorpion. Scorpions live on a diet of insects, and they eat crickets. Crickets like citrus. So that's why there's so many crickets and scorpions in Arcadia. We flipped a house in Arcadia, and I was the real estate broker and designer working with a builder. He didn't bring in a pest control company early enough, so we had an infestation of crickets. They just kept multiplying, and they were really loud. The house was stunning, but when I had a showing, I would have to clap my hands really loud to make them stop. We finally called in the pest control, who had to apply treatment 3 times. After each treatment, I had to get to the house 2 hours ahead to clean up hundreds of dead crickets and 2 or 3 huge scorpions. It was so gross. It was vile. I'm not a fan of scorpions or crickets. So word to the wise, get a good pest control company no matter what, wherever you live in Arizona. Also, apparently putting lavender in your shoes will keep scorpions away. I've never had a problem, but my buyers who live here usually do that. The cholla cactus is also called a jumping cactus because of the way these sharp spines seem to jump out and attach to your skin. And so you have to be careful. Don't even get close to them. Here's another pro. We have great universities and higher education. We have ASU in Tempe, and over the past 20 years, ASU has grown from a general desert university to a world-renowned public research institution and has been designated as the most innovative university, ahead of MIT and Stanford for the last 7 years. I went to the Thunderbird School of Global Management, the #1 international graduate school in the world. It used to be a small, almost grade school-like looking school in Glendale. We were pretty much in the middle of nowhere, but the students and the professors came from all over the world, so it was truly international. And now I have friends everywhere I go. It's really fun. ASU took over Thunderbird in 2014 and sold the campus and then built a state-of-the-art campus in downtown Phoenix. The second undergrad is University of Arizona in Tucson, and there's NAU in Flagstaff. Okay, the biggest con is water. In fact, it's one of the hottest topics around. Since 1994, 28 years, we have been in a drought. So where does the water come from? The majority of our state's water supply comes from the 3 major sources: the Colorado River, groundwater, and in-state rivers. With the explosive growth in Arizona, we have water issues. In fact, as of today, Lake Mead is so low that they found 4 bodies. More than 90% of our water supply is surface water that originates as snow in the mountains north and east of Phoenix. As the snow melts, it flows into the reservoir on the Colorado Salt and Verde rivers, where it's stored for future release to our water treatment plants. These extensive reservoir systems allow for the capture of water during the wet periods used during the dry period. Fortunately, Phoenix holds high priority rights to the use of these surface water supplies, so they're extremely reliable. In addition, over the past century, Phoenix has taken proactive measures to secure additional surface water rights, which further enhances our water supply position. The Central Arizona Project, or CAP, conveys water about 190 miles from the Colorado River at Lake Havasu on the Arizona-California border through a system of canals to Phoenix, Tucson, and beyond. The CAP system includes a series of pumps and integral storage reservoirs at Lake Pleasant on the Agua Fria River. The system's capable of carrying up to 1.8 million acres of feet each year. The Salt River Project, SRP, then conveys surface water from the Verde River and Salt River watersheds that lie to the north and east of Phoenix. The SRP system is composed of 7 dams and lakes, of which Roosevelt Lake is the largest. SRP delivers water throughout the valley using a system of the canals and 255 high-capacity wells. These canals stretch over 131 miles and use gravity to move water. Phoenix water plants receive about 20% of the water delivered each year by SRP to the metropolitan areas. My really good friends run a groundwater science company. They told me that Phoenix Metro is going to be fine.